All right, YouTube, Crypto Muse here, bringing you the latest content. And as promised in my last video, I said I'd be speaking about my top picks and breaking them down for you and how I go through my research methodology. So, without further ado, as you can see on the screen, my top pick for 2018 currently is Nebulas. And the community has called it the Google of blockchain. However, I think that's serving an injustice to really what Nebulas is capable of and all the features that it has, which could make it a competitor to Ethereum and Neo if it is executed correctly. So going through the agenda and what we have today, I want to go through the overview of the team, the vision, roadmap, and lastly, so make sure you stay tuned until the end, my investment thesis and why I think it is my top pick for 2018. So walking through the team, and this is pretty much a brief overview of their LinkedIn, just understanding and getting to know them a little better, trying not to just pick about their professional experience, but what each role and position also says about them. Again, I've said it in pretty much all of my videos, but what I really like to see is a passion within the crypto space, within the blockchain space, as opposed to opportunists who are just trying to money grab. And so Hitter's Zoo, what an awesome name, by the way. But really quickly, going from his first experience all the way to his most recent, we can see that he started off with Microsoft and Google, really just taking on role positions there, web spam team member, technical support. But what I like about that is Microsoft and Google, obviously two of the biggest companies out there. But similar to my experience, my first position out of college was also at a major corporation, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I thought that it did tremendous amount of benefit for me in terms of just understanding organization, understanding how to execute within a large role, right? And then what I really liked about his experience is that he switched then to a startup, right? So leveraging that experience from his previous positions, now kind of taking it and spearheading it into making his own ideas. So right away you can tell that this guy has a passion to create something. Going forth, we can see that he held two positions at the same time, it looks like. So he was the founder of GemPay and then also Neo blockchain. Neo is it was how I struck gold. I invested it into them when it was at around $6, and I've held on to most of it since. I've sold a little bit here and there, but I have cut. Neo was my pot of gold. I got into it at around $6 and have been holding on to the majority of it ever since. And then last but not least, we can see that he was also a founding director at Ant Financial's blockchain platform, which is associated with Alibaba. And his most recent position is founder at Nebulas. Overall, I think looking at his experience, there's definitely a strong passion for entrepreneurship. It seems like he has had a lot of roles, a lot of role positions, and at the same time, a lot of executive positions that I think has given him a good amount of experience to hopefully lead him to what his next successful project is going to be. So moving on to Robin, a co-founder at Nebulas as well. And I think it tells a similar story, right? He worked as an engineer for the first couple of years at Trend Micro, and then moved on into leadership positions at Best Plus and Xmind, right? And after that, he went to MoboTap as a senior director of engineering, ABC Tech, where he was a co-founder there, and worked with hitters at Ant Financial, and now he's a founder at Nebulas as well. And lastly, the third co-founder, Arrow Wang, really couldn't find that much about him. But what I really liked about these roles is actually the lack. I mean, it's a strength and a weakness, right? And we'll kind of get into it furthermore with the other team members. But you can see that they're really focusing on the engineering side of it, right? As opposed to the marketing, which has its pluses and minuses. But I think in a space as unique as crypto, where so much of it is vaporware marketing. I'm optimistic, and I like the fact that we're focusing more on the product as opposed to the marketing, because I think a big part of the marketing simply comes down to the community. So the team members, and I'll skip. I'm going to skip through these, but you can look at their history, and they come from Google, Airbnb. They come from major startups and corporations, and I think bringing that culture of hustle, but at the same time, these are well-funded companies that do have structure and organization. I think it's bringing a lot of positives from both sides of the coin into Nebulas. And one other thing that I did look at that I think is often overlooked is the open positions that they have. And again, this is going on how focused they are on the engineering side as opposed to the marketing side. You can see that their open positions, they have 9 positions, it looks like, open. 6 of those are for engineering and 2 are for marketing, right? So I like to see this because we can always market at a later date. Right now, it's about executing upon what we said we were going to execute, and so they're scheduled to launch their main net at the end of Q1. So if that happens, I think we're going to see a nice jump in price, right? And then, but that is left to be seen to see if this is actually what they'll accomplish. The locations, they're worldwide with an office in Beijing, Shanghai, and headquarters in San Francisco, which I think is another positive. I was in San Francisco. Well, I actually grew up in San Francisco, but was also there for the NEO conference, and just kind of seeing how different that was from the Bitcoin conference in Miami, the level of intelligence there, the involvement within just the general community. I think it's definitely something to note that they are in San Francisco. So moving on to the technology part of it, right? So to kind of give you a brief overview of what Nebulas is, it's a blockchain that I suppose eventually will compete with Ethereum, Neo, EOS, Cardano, with obviously the 2 main competitors being Ethereum and Neo. But there are a couple differentiators that I think have really attracted me towards their technology, and I think the most prevalent one that they're well known for and why they're called the Google of blockchain is their value ranking, right? So imagine it's more of right now, right? With Ethereum, besides looking up transactions and things like that, you can't really look anything up. What they want to do is whatever coins, currencies, platforms, apps are built upon their platform, they want to be able to rank it in terms of relevance, in terms of value, right? In terms of how the community looks at these applications, so we're able to look at it. So I suppose you could compare it to opening up the App Store and seeing what's most popular, what has the highest ratings. As of now, there's nothing like that, and I think that proposes a new piece of technology, right? So when you're first starting out, it's kind of like a hodgepodge of things, but as you get that system, and this is with any corporation, any process that you have, now you want to measure it. You want to measure it and define it so we can improve upon it, right? And we can reward people or developers appropriately. And I think this is a great first step of what Nebulas is trying to do. So basically, by providing a blockchain service, it allows users to locate quality apps versus the ones that aren't, as well as smart contracts. And so, let's say that you're looking for an application. There obviously could be dozens of them, right? As we're talking about the future. So based on multiple data sources, right, based off of blockchain activity, GitHub activity, Google searches, we're able to evaluate them in a certain manner. So another key component of it is that, they're using the term self-evolving, but I think really what that means is just that you're able to modify the Nebulas blockchain in distributed applications without the need to hard fork. And I know some people might not like that because we've seen, with Bitcoin, the blockchain space it's an interesting space because typically with traditional markets, when you see something like that, you would assume that the market cap of both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash stay the same, and the value just be divided by half. However, we've seen that hasn't been the case, right? And so I think although the forks may be tempting in the long run because it's splitting up communities, it's splitting up developers, it's actually a good thing that we don't see any forks. And I think one of the key things about Nebulas is there's proof of work where, similar to Bitcoin, right, you basically mine, you verify transactions, and as a miner you get rewarded for doing such things, right? There's proof of stake, such as Neo, where all you have to do is hold your Neo in a wallet, cold wallet, and on certain exchanges, and as such you'll be rewarded gas for basically being a holder of Neo. And Nebulas is introducing basically a new way, and it's called proof of devotion, right? So basically what that is that depending on how valuable your application is, the developers on it will be rewarded Nebulas token. And I was kind of bummed to hear about this because as a Neo holder, I love receiving gas every day, right? But at the same time, I've always kind of known that it's almost a too good to be true type of situation. And I think the benefits of taking those Nebulas tokens and providing it as an incentive to creating an awesome product for its developers is going to outpace the returns that you get for as opposed to just receiving dividends, right? So I'm thinking it's a critical part of creating and completing this ecosystem, because with all the different blockchains out there today, you have to attract these different companies and teams to want to build on your platform. And I think this is definitely a very enticing incentive to be offering these different teams. And on top of that, just some notable other key features, right? There's an anti-cheating algorithm. So basically anyone who tries to manipulate this ranking system, they will be penalized, and there are preventative measures placed within the code to make sure that it isn't possible. The smart contracts that you're able to write in are supported in multiple languages: JavaScript, Python, Java. Domain name service, so as opposed to just having an arbitrary address, you can say, crypto.muse official, and that's my address, and there's not a risk of sending it to the wrong address. They will be utilizing the Lightning Network as well. And I think what I am most excited about is the high strength encryption, right? Although this is an issue that isn't really at the front door yet, it will become more prevalent as quantum computing becomes more accessible. And basically the theory, or there have been articles basically claiming that by 2020 a quantum powered computer should be a common household item. And there's been large debate about whether it will be possible for a quantum powered computer to basically take your public address and hack your private key. If that is possible, I mean, you can just imagine how that would turn the crypto space on its head. So to kind of be addressing this concern, whether or not it happens or not, whether or not it's possible or not, is a positive for me. So diving right into token metrics, right? So we can see right now the price that it ICO'd at was $2, right, which is about a 3.5 times return per USD, 3.21 for ETH, and 6 times for Bitcoin. Its all-time high was $13.50, and today it's trading about $7. So it's trading just a little bit more than half of its all-time high. Now I wanted to do a quick competitive analysis, right? So Nas it's an ambitious project, and their current competitors are, I think, all within the top 10 or 15 of the cryptocurrency space. But we can just kind of get an idea that we see that Nas is currently sitting at about a $250 million market cap, whereas ETH, Neo, 80 billion, 6 billion, 5 billion, and Cardano at 7 billion. And you can see that there's a big price difference, a big market cap difference. And one of the pivotal things, I think, right, EOS and ADA, I think there's a couple projects scheduled to be built on them, but not yet. What I think we all need to be keeping an eye on is whether Nas can deliver their mainnet, and I think at that point we will see a increase in price. And then really the next pivotal point will be when teams start to build on the Nas blockchain. So my investment thesis: last year around March and April, I invested about 10% of my portfolio into Neo. Bought it around $6 to $11, and today it's worth more than half of my portfolio, right? So needless to say, I'm always on the look for, and I think Nas could potentially be that, right? 25 times, 50 times, who knows? Again, this isn't financial advice, so do your own homework, make your own decisions. It's just me sharing my personal investment philosophy and my research with you. But overall, I think that I'm prepared to hold this coin for a long time. We're seeing it priced pretty modestly, and I think part of that is just because they don't have a lot of marketing, right? And so to me, that's kind of a hidden gem where there's a product that's about to be launched and released, and there's no marketing to hype it up. So I feel like, although I could have gotten it at $2, I'm one of the early movers, or early buyers, so to speak. Their mainnet is scheduled to launch at the end of Q1, as I said before. I'm really hoping it happens. It sounds like it will, because I believe they actually moved it forward from their initial estimation of when they would be able to launch. So I don't know why they'd move it forward only to have it delayed. And then I think after that, really the key is waiting for a team to start building on the ICO, making sure that it's a smooth transaction. Even with Neo, right there, I think when Red Pulse launched, it was not smooth. But even today, we can see that the price of Neo has exploded from when I bought it at $8 all the way up to $196. And I think right now, because of some nodes shutting down, it's currently sitting at around $105. Some of the concerns I have, though, and even though I am overall optimistic about the coin, it is a crowded space, right? ETH and Neo, ETH has a first mover advantage, with Neo following closely behind. I think the reason Neo has been able to succeed is that they've really defined their own niche, right? Chinese community-based teams, and that has given them an advantage of why you'd want to build on Neo over ETH. Lack of marketing is another one for me. I mean, this is, again, it's a temporary problem, right? And that's why I feel confident about this, that they have a great product, they have a solid team. I believe they can execute. It's just they're not doing a good job of letting the world know. But that can always change, and it's just a matter of hiring the right 2 to 3 to 4 people to flip that switch on, to increase the marketing budget, and to basically let other people know, let other teams know. And I also think it might take a while for the first app to be built on Nebulas. We'll see what ends up happening. But because there's ETH and Neo already out there, and they're more established, they're ready to take people on. Neo has a great community where they help other teams who want to build on Neo with funding and with support. It'll be interesting to see how Nebulas competes with that. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed my analysis on Nebulas. In the comment section, feel free to let me know your thoughts, your opinions, any coins that you're looking at. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to like and subscribe below that way. And let me know what coin I should talk about next. Until next time.